Hey folks, what's shaking? While many of you, maybe like myself, are dealing with some extended patch outages, not the first time we've ever seen this, we're going to continue with a little bit of an overview here of where we think the different specs are going to land going into our brand new raid. So we've got a lot of fun that's about to go drop here in 10.2. Really pumped about not just, we'll call it new patch, new raid, new season for Mythic Plus. Really excited about the announcements around the 3 new expansions that WoW and Blizzard recently announced. So some pretty awesome things happening in that space. What we're going to jump straight into though is a bit of, hopefully a bit of a bad old tier list. And this is going to give us a bit of an overview of where we're landing going into our fun. Well, hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's not a big painful grind, but the work that's ahead of us. I'm going to start off with the class that's been most recently reworked. And I'm throwing this in A tier, both Vengeance and Havoc. They're in a fantastic spot. I don't think you'll find anyone. Most people haven't been upset with any of the reworks that we've seen. Whether it was Bear, Priest got a little love, Augment's blown itself out of the water in terms of being a top tier in Mythic Plus. Rogue's fun, Mage is fun. They're all in a really, really fun spot overall. All of our Dragonflight reworks, even enhancement to start off the expansion. What people are holding their breath a little bit, but it's in a fantastic position. So both Vengeance and Havoc are both going in A tier for me. I think they're absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of fun to be had. Now, there's a little bit of work when it comes to a few of the other classes that are out here. But let's start to load it up. We're going to see rogues almost right across the board. A lot of pretty darn popular rogues over the next little bit at the very least. So keep your eyes peeled there. I think you're going to see from a single target perspective, similar to what we've seen in the past, rogues are absolutely going to be killing it. Also similar to what we've seen in the past, I think enhancement's going to be totally crushing it. So a lot more fun to be had in that space. Unholy. Now, Unholy's not going to be a super popular play in Mythic Plus, but I really like where they're landing going into 10.2. They've got a ton of fun, as well as some of the changes with their tier sets are going to be in a pretty wicked position. Continuing on, I actually think you're going to see this in both rating and Mythic Plus. Mistweaver, its throughput is going to be pushing the upper end on almost every kind of content that's out there. I see Mistweaver being really popular, and hopefully that gets us a little bit more melee popularity from the Mystic touch that they provide. Continuing on, I'm actually going to kick this up ahead. Beast Mastery is in a great spot going into the next patch. I think you'll see a bunch of fun yet to happen with them. And then finally, the only other tank that I'd throw in A tier right now, you're going to see it. Brewmaster is in a deadly position. I think it was due. Brewmaster really wasn't popular with most of the Season 2. Wasn't popular at all in Season 1. Even through Shadowlands, it only had a real single patch where I enjoyed getting into it. So I won't be surprised to see the community jump around that. Now finally, it goes almost without saying, I'm really interested to see how the race for World First incorporates more Augment evokers. Augment, I was really surprised we didn't see any kind of rework or something. To me, they play the way I expected an enhancement shaman to play and actually enhance the other classes that are out there, but they're totally crushing it for the time being. I'm going to keep rolling down here. Overall, not a total different change, but definitely playable classes. I'm going to throw in the B tier next. I'm going to start off with probably the class that I don't know, probably going to take a bit of a step back. I main Fury, or I main my Warrior. I played him between Arms, Prot, and Fury. Fury is just in an okay spot. Its tier's not going to unleash a whole lot, but Prot is in a way better spot. So I'm really excited to see where Prot lands. I'm actually going to put Prot just a hair ahead of where Death Knights are going to be. Blood Death Knight's going to have an awesome amount of damage that we're going to see here. It should be a bunch of fun. Continuing on, I think you're actually going to continue to see Fire Mage be a go-to. And I think we're going to see Pharaoh be a bit of a go-to as well. So overall, a bunch of fun here. Frost DKs still kind of trailing. I don't know if Season 4 is going to be their time to really shine. Haven't seen it yet, but they're still viable as far as what we're looking at here going into this season. So no huge concerns on that front. I think we're going to see some other fun plays out here. However, though, we're going to see a little bit of that Survival Hunter creep their way in. And then finally, I think Restoration's probably going to make their way right here. Last but not least, and maybe this is wishful thinking for me because I'm biased, I'm going to throw Retribution Paladins in here. Didn't see a whole ton of changes here most recently. Really how this is played out. Holy Paladin has actually seen a little bit of nerfs this last little bit. That'll show up here as we continue with the tier set. But overall, they're in an okay spot. Next, I'm going to throw Preservation Evoker in the could be better space. Probably going to put Balance in a similar spot. Next up, I'm going to throw in my Windwalker. I'm going to throw up Bear. Bear is, it's going to feel a lot worse than before. And then we're actually going to throw up a couple of Warlocks. Now, the classes that we're not going to totally love, I'm going to jump down to probably the bottom tier off the hop here. So, you're going to see it. Holy Shadow, Arms, all taking a step back. Really unfortunate because I had hopes before we even kicked off the PTR that I could transition back to Arms here while raiding. Now we're not going to see it. It's not going to make it this time, but we'll continue to play around with it. Talking about continuing to play on, let's keep digging into it then. So we're going to see a couple other classes over the next little bit. Kick it up. I'm going to throw all of our rogues up into awesome. Marksmanship is going to follow survival right back in there. I think when it comes down to it, these classes are going to be in a world of hurt, which isn't a ton of fun. I actually think you're going to see prop paladins a whole lot more competitive than what people are thinking. Their tier set, supporting them in consecration, not going to be great for high-end Mythic Plus, but in the raid, this is going to be top-notch, so I'm pumped to see where that goes. Frost Mages, I think they're just kind of here. Like, they could be better, they could be worse. It's not the end of the world for them by any means. And then we're just kind of cruising along, right? Like, most of the other classes, you're not going to see a ton of play. Like, I think some people could tell you that prop paladins are going to be down here in an F tier that we've never seen before. I'm probably biased. I play a lot of paladin. It's been my main for many seasons, so I'm going to still throw it up as awesome. Arcane Mage, throwing it back to could be better. Resto Shaman, I really don't think if you've got a competitive raid group, you're going to be pulling a Resto Shaman, but if you do, it's somewhere between doomed and could be better. Like, I think it could be better, but like, it's really not going to be one of the 4 healers you're going to try to prioritize based on the tier sets of the other groups that we've seen so far. Devastation is actually in a pretty solid spot overall. So I'm going to throw it probably right behind Resto. We'll sneak it in here. Nice to see some druids both on this end. Like, that's all right, but a little bit more work to do. Finally, Elemental Shaman, kind of similar to Resto Shaman. They're both just lacking what we're looking for. It's not that they're not playable. They're just not going to be on the top end of ultimately the different compositions that are going to be out here as the raid kicks off. And then finally, last but not least, if you have been avoiding Disc Priest and you can pull up the meters, you can go to Raider.io, pretty much everyone has, Disc is going to be crushing. Like, God level healer. You'll prioritize multiple Disc Priests over pretty much everything else at this point in time. It's almost to the point where like this class is going to have to look at another round of damage reduction. I know it had its damage reduced multiple times through the PTR, but they're really just trying to get it aligned with the other healers that are out there. Disc's high damage is absolutely fantastic. You're going to see it. Atonement's going to be pumping. It's going to get out big heals there, especially with it healing for 40% of your damage that's done. And then Sins of the Many, increasing your damage by 20%. I know it used to be 40 prior to the most recent nerf, but man, this is going to absolutely crush. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you enjoy the next patch as it kicks off, and we'll continue to try to jump in. Bliss is telling us it should be in the next hour or so. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What did we get right? What was totally broken? What can we do better on? What are we totally wrong on? Let us know. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.